Not sure if EMS is the career for you? Or maybe you've already taken the plunge and decided to enroll in a local EMT course, and now you just want to know more or less what you're getting yourself into. Well, you've come to the right place. Be sure to watch the entire video as I highlight the top pros and top cons if you're considering a career in EMS. Stay tuned. All right, before we jump right in, I would love to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Stacy. I'm a nationally registered paramedic. And if you're a longtime subscriber, you may recognize me from my old videos. I made videos and vlogged my way through EMT intermediate course and through my EMT paramedic course. And I have taken all those videos down, and I'll make a video explaining one day why I did that. But I'm back and I am more in love with EMS than I've ever been. So I can't wait to share all of that with you. All right guys, before we get into this, if you like this sort of content and you love all things EMS, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're at it, make sure to hit the notification bell to be notified when I post a new video. Let's jump right in. Close to 1 million individuals are certified at some level of EMS in the United States alone, whether it be paid or volunteer. And today we're gonna go into some of the joys and some of the hardships that you do face if you choose to go into this career. Pro number one, the feeling of being able to help somebody. Most people go into EMS for this specific feeling. Now I realize there are some situations where you're required to get your EMT, whether it be for a fire department or for law enforcement. I've seen that in some counties, cities, and provinces. But I'm talking about if you go into EMS because you want to, you make the choice to, it typically is to help people, and that is an admirable quality. It is an unrealistic expectation to think that you'll help everybody, but I will say most times you walk away from a shift or maybe a couple of shifts where you feel like you made a difference, and that right there is worth all the hardships. So if you're choosing to go into EMS for this reason, I applaud you. All right, pro number two, the family-like environment. This is probably one of my favorite parts of being involved and employed with the EMS field. I can't speak for every department, but I will say the departments that I've been in and observed, most of them have a family-like environment. They have each other's back. They know each other's family. They know each other's kids. And that is a very, very special quality of this field. You get on each other's nerves. You're with each other days on end. 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, and 96 hours sometimes at most. And that's a long time to be away from your family, and you do develop a bond with the people that you're around. But even when you get on each other's nerves, you go on these really bad, rough calls, and guess who has your back when you get back to the station? Your crew. And that's one of the best things about this field, I think. Pro number three. I love EMS because it's constantly changing, constantly advancing. You're always learning and no day is the same. I love going into work and knowing that I don't know what's gonna happen next. I mean, most people want stability, and there is a small population of people that thrive on instability. It is great to not become complacent because you do get those repeat callers and you do get those days that are kind of similar to the day before, but for the most part every day is different and nothing stays the same. The really cool thing is that medicine is always advancing. The medical field is always advancing. So we're always having to learn a new medicine or a new piece of equipment or a new ambulance or whatever it may be. We're always having to learn. I heard somewhere the most dangerous phrase in the language is, "We've always done it this way." And I think this is especially dangerous in the EMS field because you can't get stuck in the way that you used to do it. You have to be willing to change in advance. Anyway, I'm gonna get off my soapbox on that one. If you're working or volunteering in the field of EMS, I would love to hear your pros and cons of this career field because there are so many, and in this video we're only touching on a few, so be sure to comment down below what you think. All right guys, to get into the negatives, we're gonna touch on them for just a little bit. We kind of have to. Con number one, and the most common complaint you're going to hear in the EMS field: the pay. For the amount of sleep you're deprived of, for the amount of important events in your life that you miss, for the amount of terrible calls that you go on, EMS is grossly underpaid. Now I realize it changes from area to area, and also it makes a difference if you're employed with a department or you're employed with a private ambulance service. But overall, the pay sucks. Con number 2, terrible shifts, rough calls, and PTSD. The non-stop shifts, the calls with children, the calls that you can't stop thinking about for days, for weeks, for months on end. They're all a very real part of EMS. And unfortunately, some EMTs feel that it's a sign of weakness to reach out if you're struggling. And I encourage you, if you are struggling, do not be ashamed and do not be afraid to reach out, because everybody needs somebody to lean on, a support system. So reach out to your family, reach out to your friends, reach out to your spouse, to your crew, to your coworkers. Lean on your religion or whatever it is that you draw support and love from, because this career has a really ugly side, and these calls that you go on can really affect you. So make sure that you take care of yourself. All right, con number 3, interrupted sleep schedules. It is a fact, it happens. You may even have a shift where you have little to no calls. You can't sleep because you're anticipating the call that may come in. Or you may have a shift where you can't sit down to eat, you can't sit down to sleep, you can't sit down for anything. And life doesn't stop because you're tired. So after you get off shift, you may still be required to go pick up kids or go to a second job. You may not be able to sleep and recover from the shift that you just had. That can be a very negative side of EMS. Those are just some of the pros and some of the cons of the field of EMS. If you like this video, be sure to let me know by liking it below, and also share it with all your fellow and aspiring EMS junkies out there. And maybe you want to know exactly what is required to become an EMT. Be sure to tune in next week, same time, same place, because we're gonna go into the 4 basic requirements it takes to be a nationally registered EMT. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.